Welcome back to CNC3's special edition on the Clico crisis. I'm Jeremy Matuk. My guests this evening are Government Senator Patrick Watson, Peter Pamel of the Clico Policyholders Group, and Douglas Camacho, President of ATIC. Gentlemen, we're in the last session, and I really want to start looking forward. We've gone over many of the sins. What's the forward plan for the companies in the CL group? Patrick, I'm putting it as you. And how will taxpayers get our money back? And if so, when will we get our money back?
Well,
what's the outlook?
If I concentrate on the case of Clico, which is the jewel in the crown, notwithstanding, it's that there is a plan, and it was enunciated in the budget, to put some order into it. And that will take time, as Douglas pointed out, and to eventually get it back on its foot, because we don't want to see Clico disappear. The people who own the policies in there that are now, I should feel safe. Clico will continue to exist and will continue to serve those. I do agree that as the time goes, and I want to, if I have anything to do with it, to the extent that monies have to be collected from a sale, it must not be a fire sale. I heard Peter say, and people who are calling on us to sell the shares as if we must sell the Republic shares tomorrow. So we can't do that. And certainly the shares in methanol at this point in time has a debt associated with it. That debt is going to disappear in the next year or so, I think, and the values of those shares will go up tremendously. So monies will be available, and if and when it is sold out, all creditors must be respected, including those who put money in Clico. I don't know what the pecking order, but I want to say that the taxpayer who put money in the CL Financial Group overall must have their say. And that $5 billion that was put there, the $3.3 billion that has gone into the budget this year, that is a debt to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And there's an overall debt. So everybody must look back to getting their share. I suspect that we will not get back all we have.
A number of executives in Clico and CL Financial Group have become fabulously rich, while these companies have gone down the toilet. We hear of multi-million-dollar US payouts for bonuses and the like, and we hear also about large real estate holdings overseas. Is there any chance of holding these people personally, financially responsible, and perhaps recouping some of that money?
I'm not a lawyer.
Peter, I want to hear what you think. Are you pursuing that on behalf of your policyholders?
Well, I want to say that I want to commend the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. She has announced on Friday last that the Commission of Inquiry is going to be set up to investigate this.
But we had one. We had Lindquist.
And we understand that Mr. Anand Ramlogan, the Attorney General, is in the UK as we speak, seeking out the commissioners.
Yeah.
What I want to tell the public is that we would certainly be cooperating in any way that is necessary to assist the Commission in bringing, if they are perpetrators, bringing them to justice, because I support the position, if you do the crime, you're going to do the time.
Is there any suggestion, Douglas, that there have been financial crimes, as far as you can tell from what you've read?
On the surface, it looks more like bad decision-making, bad management, and greed. From my perspective, though, I think a commission of inquiry is useful. I think it is overrated. I think it brings a lot of information and very little if you could check the history in Trinidad and Tobago of commissions of inquiry for the last 20 years. I think the much more pertinent one for me is the forensic work that I think the last and this current government are pursuing.
But Lindquist did some work.
And I think they are pursuing it, the current government as well. And I think that body of work, I think will help better inform the government to see if it is possible to go after anybody personally, which is what I think you're getting at. The personal assets of the people, if there's any crime. And I agree, Peter, if anyone has done the crime, where the chips fall, they should do the time.
Senator Watson, the Lindquist report obviously would have cost some good money. We haven't heard a thing about it. We haven't heard any recommendations. Surely the government has it.
Yes, I cannot vouch for it. I myself have never read it. So that is the reality. So
but you have access to it.
I would like to believe that if I asked for it, I would get it. But you are quite right on the Commission of Inquiry. It is a costly exercise. The off-commission was not something that was done cheap, and I hope that we are not pursuing something that will cost too much in the end and we don't get satisfaction for it. I too want to add my own voice to that if some people have been guilty of impropriety, they should go to jail. And certainly people who have been involved in activity that has caused this, they should be debarred from taking part in activity.
But do you know what the average viewer is going to think when we say that and we're honest about it, but the average viewer, to be honest, will say, fat chance. Mm-hmm. No rich man ever makes a jail in Trinidad for a financial crime. And, you know, they make jail in the States, they make jail in Britain, and all over the developed world, but not in Trinidad. And I wanted to suggest that it's time that the government put in the sort of regulations that when people rob other people, if I go and rob my neighbor and I'm caught, I go to jail. But when a company robs 25,000 people or 200,000 people, nobody makes a jail. And the average viewer out there can be excused for feeling very cynical when they hear government promises about if financial crimes have been committed, people will. I'd like to see more action behind those words, to be very honest. Gentlemen, we're getting towards the close, and I want to give you each a chance to make your closing comments. You each represent, you represent the industry. Peter, you represent the policyholders. Patrick, you represent the government tonight. Let's defer to you. You go first. You have about a minute each.
Yeah, let me say,
not more than a minute
I think that the proposal that was put forward is eminently reasonable. I do believe that with the discussions with the groups like Peter's group, that it may be fine-tuned and so on. My own concern as somebody involved with not only looking at the Clico matter, but looking at the economy as a whole, is I would not like to see this costing more money than it is already costing. I mean, the deficit this year is $7.7 billion, 3.3 of money is going to Clico. If we didn't have that problem, the deficit would be 4.4. I would like to see that if a solution is arrived at, that we may not have had the best idea. Give me the best idea, but let it cost no more than what I am proposing.
Point taken. Peter, go next.
Yeah, I would like to end on a positive note with all the negativity that went on here this evening. I would like to let the policyholders know that I met with a high-ranking government representative today, and we have started discussions with respect to coming up with some kind of proposal that will ease the pain with respect to policyholders. More will be said about this tomorrow at our press conference at the Cascadia Hotel at 4 p.m. So I would like you all to go to sleep tonight knowing that your interests are being looked after, and I am optimistic, but cautiously so, and I hope that we can in fact bring some amicable and satisfactory resolution to this problem.
Douglas.
Right. Two quick ones from me. One, on the issue of the money that could be collected, I think people have to act responsibly. I think they have to recognize that time is going to take some time, and don't expect it to be a fast food solution. And in terms of going forward, I think it is critical, and this should act as a catalyst for that the work done so far to bring the new piece of financial legislation that will modernize it, and it is already in bill form, so it is already, the work is done. I think the government and the central bank need to work together to make sure that in this parliamentary term, that Insurance Act sees the light of day and it is not deferred any further. I really feel that is the way forward.
Gentlemen, thank you all very much. Thank you very much. As we go, I would leave you with the following observations. There are telling lessons in this crisis for everyone. We're seeing the consequences of outdated and inadequate regulations, an unhealthy level of political influence on successive governments, and some slack, greedy, and careless management of a financial institution which has brought misery and suffering to many and has saddled the country with a huge financial burden. There have been moral, ethical, and political deficiency at every level, and those responsible should hang their heads in shame. Perhaps the inquiry will reveal more. Maybe people will be brought to justice if any financial crimes have been committed. But most important is that it is time for those in authority to act with a sense of urgency, to revise the regulations and pass the necessary legislation to ensure that such a mess does not happen again. I'm speaking here specifically to the government, the central bank, and the insurance and financial industries. Pussyfooting and politicking and seeking special interests will no longer cut it. It's time for decisive action. It is said that those who fail to learn from their mistakes are doomed to repeat them. Sadly, there is very little so far to suggest that we have learned anything at all. Let's hope that that changes in a hurry. Thanks for viewing. I'm Jeremy Matuk wishing you a very good night.